If your project requires purlin splicing, you'll want to finish installing your rafters and purlin holders first. Now the only thing left to do should be finishing the shade purlin portion of your roof. For starters, you'll want to go ahead and take note of the different lengths of purlins you have and sort them accordingly. Next, you'll take the longest purlin piece you have and slide it through one side of the roof as far as it'll go through all the purlin holders. Make sure to take into account any overhang on the non-spliced end of the purlin. Our standard roofs typically have 1 foot of overhang past the outsidemost purlin holder. So, taking that overhang into account, see how many purlin holders this longest purlin will reach through, and then mark the piece to be cut down, ending in the middle of the farthest purlin holder you can reach. So for example, if it makes it through 4 purlin holders but it can't quite reach the 5th one, you'll mark that purlin to be cut in the very center of the 4th purlin holder. To do this, you should take the purlin back down to the ground and cut it to length on your mark. Once trimmed to size, we recommend sliding it back through to ensure that it fits right into the middle of that purlin holder. If everything lines up, you'll want to save this purlin's length, as you can now use this one to cut your other pieces in bulk to that same precise length, and they'll all end up right in the middle of that purlin holder. Make sure to use all of those same longer length purlins to do this step. You'll want to put one fastener into the splice location as it's seen on your Purlin Splice PDF document. The best way to get this fastener in is to go ahead and drive the fastener through the corner of the angled purlin. You don't have to try and get the fastener into the flat top portion of the purlin because it's sitting on an angle. So once again, I'll reference the Purlin Splice PDF, and you can see how you take your fastener and go straight vertically through the purlin holder down into the top corner of that purlin sitting below. When putting these fasteners in, it's also very helpful to have somebody else holding the purlin in place, or perhaps use some quick clamps, as you don't want the purlin moving around when you're trying to fasten it down. If we only have one splice, the only thing left to do should be taking our leftover purlins and completing the remainder of the roof. This is best done by taking one of those leftover purlins and sliding it in the opposite end of the roof from where you started, and wait until it butts up against the original purlin in the middle of that example 4th purlin holder. You should have way too much overhang sticking out onto your other end of the pergola roof now, and you can simply take a tape measure and put a mark where that overhang should end. So once again, using a 1 foot overhang as an example, if my purlin's sticking out 28 inches past my outsidemost purlin holder, I'll go ahead and make a mark at 12 inches, take it to the ground, cut it to length, and then bring it back up to slide it in, and testing it, making sure that everything lines up. If all is well again, just like before, we can take this length of the newly trimmed piece and cut all of our remaining pieces in bulk, making sure that everything lines up at the same exact length when we're done. So once again, referencing the Purlin Splice PDF document, you'll want to put the fastener for this newly trimmed piece at the spliced location, meaning when you're done, there should be 2 fasteners in that purlin holder where the 2 pieces are butted up together inside. So this should complete your spliced purlin shade piece roof. If you have more than one splice, you'll go ahead and have to slide purlins into the original spliced location on one end and mark the center of the farthest purlin holder you can reach on the other end. Rinse and repeat that step until eventually your pergola roof is complete. So on a final note, these shade pieces are very easy to UPS out and replace. Of course, we don't want you cutting anything incorrectly on your pergola, but if we had to pick one thing, it would definitely be this shade purlin piece. If you need any additional help or you have any other questions, do not hesitate to call or email us. We're definitely here to help.